All right, folks, good morning. All right, let's get started. So for today, September the 4th, we have the following. All right, first things first, we already had um, trade balance come out, which came in at negative 78.8 billion, which was as expected, basically. At 10 a.m., we have JOLTS job openings, and we have factory orders month over month. Now, Jolt's job openings, of course, is a major report. At all day today, we'll have Ward's total vehicle sales, and then at 2 p.m. we'll have Beige Book, which is not a major report. Um, so that's basically it. We might get some market impact from the 10:30 a.m. Bank of Canada conference. Bank of Canada, of course, our northern neighbor, Canada, United States, are heavily involved in trade with each other. So there is a possibility we might get some significant impact from that, but we'll see. So basically, at 10 o'clock, we'll have our major report for the session, and we might have some spillover impact at 10:30 from the Bank of Canada's press conference. Now, having said that, let's take a look at the QQQ ETF. Now, of course, yesterday was super bearish. We were down over 3% yesterday in the NASDAQ, so pretty sharp decline. The reason given in the media, in the financial news media, was because of the ISM manufacturing PMI numbers, but I specifically disagree with that. Because the information about the ISM manufacturing PMI has not significantly changed in about 2 years. In other words, we've been in the same contraction territory for 2 years, and the expectation for yesterday's number basically matched the actual result. So there may be other reasons why the market sold off that are not self-evident, but just making a point there. So as of right now, the Nasdaq looks like it's going to open slightly lower than where we closed yesterday. And let's take a look at the stocks which were moving yesterday, which of course would mostly be bearish. Now we didn't do a huge number of trades, although we probably could have, but let me just go over the stocks that came up on our list yesterday that worked out pretty well. So first we have MARA, which was bearish, able to reach target number 2 to the downside of 15.31 a share, then trade down to 15.03 a share. Next up, we have Qualcomm, which was able to reach target number 2 to the downside of 166.67, and then trade down to a low of 162. Next up, we have AMD, and that was able to trade below our target number 2 to the downside of 141.24, and then eventually reached a low of 136.10. And then lastly, we have Micron, which was able to reach our target number 2 to the downside of 89.69, and then it traded down to a low of 88.31. Now, most of these stocks move beyond our secondary targets. We don't have any projections or any idea of where a stock will go once it goes past that point. None of these stocks really traded well enough that we would likely have been able to capture any part of that excess movement, except for Micron. That was the only one that was smooth enough in that transition that maybe you could catch a little more. But either way, very good opportunities yesterday for trading for the most part. Um, Now, having said that, let's look at the pre-market and see what we got. Okay. So here's what we have so far in the pre-market that's come up on my radar. ASST is first. That's up 19% plus on 2.3 million shares roughly, and it's over $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list. Symbol again is ASST. Next up we have, oh, that one's too far down. Next up we have Clove. I haven't seen this one in a long time. CLOV. That currently is up 6.4% on 1.4 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share, so we'll add that to our radar as well. I do remember this stock specifically from a couple of years ago, I think, where it had a pretty nice run. So haven't seen or heard from it since then. Next up, we have CNFR, which is currently up about 55% on 19.5 million shares. It's at least $1 per share as well, so we will go ahead and add CNFR to the pre-market watch list. All right, next up we have, I see here INTC is down. It was down a lot yesterday, but it's only down 2.5%, but that is notable that it's declining, so, but nothing we can do with that one since it doesn't qualify. Next up is, no, not that one. WINT. Now this stock is currently up 47% on 5.3 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. But as you can see, this is a stock that had a massive decline yesterday. Went down from about went down from $7.77 all the way down to $3, under $3.50 yesterday. But right now, it's sharply recovering on strong volume. So we'll definitely add this to the pre-market watch list for stocks. WINT is the symbol. And lastly, we have WISA, which is presently up 69% on 24.6 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll add that to the pre-market watch list as well. WISA is the symbol. All right, so that's what we have so far. If you folks see any other stocks besides the 5 that we found so far that meet all 4 of our criteria, let me know in the chat. Our 4 criteria we're looking for specifically in the pre-market are: we need a NASDAQ listed stock that in this current pre-market has traded at least 1 million shares of volume. It must be at least $1 per share in price, and at least a 6% price change, positive or negative. So if you see any stocks other than those already mentioned, of course, that meet all 4 of our criteria, let me know in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and take a look. All right. I think that's about it. So we'll go ahead and wrap up for today's pre-market pulse. Please be sure to like the video. I see we have 11 likes, but more than 11 people watching. So we do appreciate the likes we got, but please be sure to like the video if you haven't. That greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll get notifications. If anyone's watching this video on a replay, if you're not familiar with our company, check out fundertrading.com, our website. You'll see a link in the description of this video. Other than that, for everyone else, I'll see you in the coaching room in about 25 minutes, and we'll go from there. All right? All right, folks. Have a good one. Take care.